Celebrity Edge, the very first cruise ship to return to sailing out of the United States. It's the fourth day of our cruise, the third full day. We're in Costa Maya, Mexico today. Welcome to everyone joining live and everyone watching later on. You can find more content on our YouTube channel as well as on Instagram, so make sure you check that out. And of course, cruisehabit.com. I wanted to give you guys some updates around what things have been like the first few days of the cruise. We shared over on YouTube several days ago. The sail away was an amazing and emotional sail away, but I thought everyone deserved some more updates. If you're not following along on Instagram and Twitter, so I know there have been a lot of questions about what is cruising like right now. Given given that this is the first sailing back out of the U.S., how smoothly are things going? What are the restrictions? Things like that. So I figured we'll take just a couple minutes here. I'm here on the Rooftop Garden, which is an absolutely fantastic multi-purpose venue here up on the top deck. It's very windy, so I apologize if things are bouncing around right now. Sometimes there's live music, sometimes movies, sometimes people just out here relaxing, enjoying the views. A little overcast, but it's keeping it cool, so we're okay with that right now. So again, got a lot of questions, understandably, about what it's like cruising right now. So first I want to tell you, and this is maybe the most important thing to know, that while I can tell you about what it's like here on Celebrity Edge on this first sailing, and I can speak to what it was like on Celebrity Millennium, which was the first Caribbean sailing, she sailed out of St. Martin just a couple weeks ago, we're on board that. The experiences are going to vary by ship, by cruise line, and even by sailing, because the rules can vary depending on whether the itinerary that you're on, the ports that you're visiting, and of course, just the constantly changing situation. That out of the way, this sailing is 99% vaccinated. All of the crew members are fully vaccinated against COVID-19, and the vast majority of guests, there are, I think, around 25 children maybe that are not fully vaccinated against COVID-19. I believe originally there were going to be 2 adults that were not yet fully vaccinated. They didn't hit their 2 weeks yet, but I believe they ended up rescheduling. Either way, a very small number of non-vaccinated people on board. Most people are fully vaccinated. And the ship is only at 40% occupancy, which makes it rather nice to the extent that, while Celebrity Edge is great at handling the number of people she carries, it's even better right now because only 40% occupancy. So it's been extremely relaxing in that way. Now, because almost everyone is fully vaccinated, masks are not required of guests while on board the ship. Now, when you're off in port, that can vary, of course. You want to abide by local laws and such. Those guests that are not fully vaccinated, it is recommended that they wear masks, so I don't believe that is a hard requirement. Guests over 16 that are not fully vaccinated, they don't have run of the ship. There may be certain areas when they go to certain venues like the theater or certain restaurants, they may have to sit in certain areas. We haven't seen what that's like though, because again, I don't believe on the sailing there is actually anyone over 16 that is not vaccinated. So, sorry, it just got very windy here. There was testing, a lot of questions around testing. There was no testing before this cruise for those guests who are fully vaccinated. Those guests not fully vaccinated did have to get tested at the port. That was the logistics of that were handled by Celebrity Cruises. We're at Port Everglades, Terminal 25. If there are any guests, and this is the policy, so it may be the case next week when we're also on board next week, any guests over 16 that are not fully vaccinated, they have to undergo additional testing, and they do have to pay for that testing and may encounter some of those restrictions I was talking about earlier. There may be testing when we re-enter the United States. It seems like they may not need to do that because this is a closed-loop cruise, but just do know that there's always the potential for testing when you return to the United States because of U.S. requirements. If that is required, the cruise line will take care of that, handle the logistics for you. Now, at some point, you may want to get off the ship and enjoy some of the ports we're visiting. On this sailing, we visited Costa Maya, Mexico today. Tomorrow, we're in Cozumel, and then in a couple days, we're in Nassau, Bahamas. For disembarking, generally speaking, it is up to the port and that country and what they want to do. If they want to allow you to roam on your own, and tour on your own, or if you have to take ship-sponsored tours. Now, there was a little bit of a last-minute exception for this for stops in Mexico on this sailing, because Celebrity did say at the last minute that because of the lower vaccine rate in Mexico and some spikes in cases, the guests were only going to be able to disembark in Mexico if they're with a ship-sponsored excursion. Now, they worked some things out in Costa Maya where if you wanted to stay within the port area, you were free to do that. You didn't have to tour. And they even had cabs available that were separately vetted and that would take you only to specific locations that were okay for you to travel to, where the cruise line had verified some of the best practices were occurring. So it's nice that they gave the flexibility. That was a really nice thing, I thought, that Celebrity did, because I understand it's a constantly changing situation. They didn't want to make the last minute change, but that was a nice way, I thought, of handling it. We'll see if there's anything that they're able to do like that tomorrow in Cozumel, but I don't suspect so, just because the nature of the port is different. But we'll find out. The situation is evolving quickly. Dining. So folks, always want to know, is the buffet open? And indeed, the buffet is open. Ocean View Cafe, which is the buffet venue on Celebrity ships, is open and operating as normal. The only difference is that you do not serve yourself. The crew serves you. You can get as much or as little of anything that you want. The crew simply plates it for you. And I actually prefer it that way. A lot of other cruise lines have been doing it that way for years. And from what I understand, Celebrity will continue to operate that way, even quote unquote after COVID. And I'm all for it. I think it's cleaner and just easier. So that's not a bad thing. You don't need reservations for the dining, for any of the dining areas, including Ocean View Cafe, outside of the fact that specialty dining, could potentially fill up, things like that. But normal, right? Nothing specific for COVID. And it is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the buffet venue. Unlike Adventure of the Seas on Royal Caribbean, they've been sailing out of Nassau, and the buffet venue there was, you had to have certain reservations, or you could be in a standby line, which seemed to operate just fine, but it was not open for dinner. That's not the case here. It's open for dinner. But that is, gets back to what I said just a few minutes ago when we started. Why it's so important to check for your individual sailing. My recommendation, I always recommend using a good travel agent. I'm not a travel agent. I say that because it's good advice, and in fairness, we do work with a partner agency, Touring Plans Travel. I'll actually be traveling with friends and business partners from Touring Plans Travel next week, and excited to hang out with my friends that I haven't seen in over a year on a ship on Celebrity Edge. But those last minute changes and the difference sailing to sailing, depending on the destination, depending on the ship, the cruise line, all those things, it's just one more reason it's so important to use a good travel agent. Because listen, guys, I do this, I keep up cruisehabit.com and the social channels and things, and I love the cruise industry, and even I have trouble keeping up. I've been talking with a lot of other bloggers and people with major publications focused on travel here on board, and everyone says the same thing, like, we can't keep up with what the requirements are and all this. So use a good travel agent. That'll save you a lot of work. If you want to head over to cruisehabit.com and fill out the purple form there, you can get a no obligation quote and consultation from our travel partners, and that may be something that saves you some time, hassle, and even money. But however you book, make sure you're verifying the details for your specific trip right up to the last minute. Just looking down some notes here. Gym, the gym is also operating as normal. They took the water bottles out. Don't know why, they're still water fountain. Maybe unrelated. Maybe they're just moving the bottle holder. I don't know. But the gym is operating as normal. So is the casino. No reservations needed for either of those things. There's no real social distancing enforced. There's signs about social distancing. I said when we were on Celebrity Millennium a few weeks ago, you can check out the live blog we did on that sailing over at cruisehabit.com, that I almost wonder if some of those signs were put on the ship a year ago and they didn't know what the score would be. Sort of like the cruise line does give you masks. All the guests get masks from the cruise line. They're rather nice masks, actually. You don't need to wear them on board, but that way, if you want to wear them on board, some choose, and that's fine. The crew are at this time required to wear them. But when you're in port, you may want to use one of Celebrity's masks. It's yours to keep, and they're rather nice. But I thought, geez, I wonder how long ago these were made. And I think it was the cruise director actually said the other night that these masks were all made like a year and a half ago, or over a year ago when this all started. So I'm glad we don't need them as much as we thought we would, but it's nice that the cruise line provides those. Let's see, excursions. Oh, I know. Let's talk very briefly. If you are going to be cruising, I said keep up to date with those last minute changes that could take place. One of those things that's a predicted last minute thing is that you will have a health questionnaire. This is for Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, and I suspect that when we see Carnival sailing in a few days, we'll see something similar. 24 hours before, you'll get a notification in the app for a health questionnaire. And all that information is re-verified and asked again when you check in, but it's painless, easy. They're just trying to do what they can, make sure all is well. Now, of course, if you plan on going on a cruise and maybe something happens, you test positive, or you're just not feeling well, talk to the cruise line. Be honest, because here's the thing: just simply not feeling well does not necessarily disqualify you. There are additional screenings, see what's going on. They want to make sure you're healthy. But they also want you to sail and they want you to be happy. So if something happens with your health, you come up positive or something, the cruise line will work with you. You're not just walking away from your money or anything like that. So be honest with the cruise line. They're really looking to work with guests to make this a fantastic experience. And that's the thing, guys. It is a fantastic experience because cruising is back. And I said to somebody in an interview yesterday, cruising is back and it's better than ever. Honestly, there are some enhancements on board, like I feel at the buffets, that are good changes that I'm glad will be sticking around. Muster Drill 2.0. Just about every cruise line is going to have some version of that now. You don't have to muster in a big group anymore. You watch some videos on your phone and then you check in at your muster station pretty much any time the first day before sailing. And that's it. It's so much better. So there are some real positive changes. The lower occupancy on ships. This is the best time to cruise, guys. So know that it's not a compromise to cruise right now. Now, again, are some of the rules different on some cruise lines? Absolutely. Mask rules and distancing and things like that on Adventure of the Seas, for example. I talked to a few friends, including our friends over at eatsleepcruise.com, and they said they were on Adventure, and they said, going from Adventure onto this ship, what's funny, we thought on Adventure it felt like a pretty normal cruise with despite the restrictions. They said, yeah, okay, so sometimes certain situations, mask, distancing, but it felt like a pretty normal cruise. It really wasn't that much of a departure. They said, then we got on board here and we're like, oh no, this is like completely normal, actually. But it just goes to show you that even if your sailing does have different sets of restrictions, it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad experience, and everyone's happy to be back. I'm thrilled to be back on board. I've spent 3 of the last 5 weeks on a ship. Excellent. Cruising is back. So do what you can to get yourself on board a cruise. It's the best time to cruise. We've got the, if you think this is an interesting looking area, we'll show you all around the ship. We've been sharing lots of live videos over on our Facebook page. Just check out Cruise Habit on Facebook, facebook.com/Cruise Habit if you want to do it that way. We'll share more around the ship, but sister ship to this, Apex, brand new, just started sailing out of Greece a week and a half ago, I think. She has some nice improvements over the ship, but still the same basic idea. We're going to be on board her January 8th of 2022, and you can join us, apexgroupcruise.com. We've got some amazing rates, and there's going to be some special incentives to booking with us. One of those is just that if you want, completely optional, but if you want, we get to hang out on board. So check that out, apexgroupcruise.com. We would absolutely love to see you on board that or any other sailing we're doing. We're going to be on Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady on the first U.S. sailing, September 22nd. Would love to hang out with you there as well. And we might even be hopping on something here in August. We'll find out what happens. But that's it for now. I wanted to share those updates with you because I realized I hadn't given just kind of the broad process and everything over here on YouTube, except when we're all sorts of distracted and happy and crying some of the time over at the Sail Away on the Magic Carpet, which is such a cool venue here on Celebrity Edge. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Please, you can comment below and I'll get to you there, or you can reach out on Twitter, on Facebook, or in the comments at cruisehabit.com. I'm, genuinely happy to answer questions. I don't always know the answer, but I will always try. And sometimes if I forget, if I say, oh, I'll find out, and I don't, please feel free to reach out and be like, did you forget about me? Like somebody asked me, and I don't remember who it was, the name of a drink I had up on the Retreat Sun Deck, which is the suite area on. And I said, oh, I'll find out. And I can't remember who did it. But if you're that person, reach out and I'll let you know. By the way, it was B something. I took a screenshot of the menu, so I'll share whoever asked me. But anyway, that's going to do it for now. We're going to go down to Eden to have dinner at the Eden restaurant. So I'll give you one last view of rooftop terrace, or rooftop garden, excuse me, wrong ship, and the rooftop garden grill right over there. That's a specialty restaurant. And I look forward to talking ship with all of you again real soon, maybe tomorrow from Cozumel, Mexico. Thanks so much, guys.